Mulgore. It is indeed a land that I pride myself to have been born in. Its vast green lands and its people make my everyday so peaceful. Yet, it is the duty of one to fight for such peace. And so when I became of age, I decided to accept all sorts of tasks in order to aid my village. Chief Hawkwing's mother rewarded me with some wise advice.
Remember that even the most humble task can gain the recognition of elders.
I expanded on my druidism skills. As one becomes older, he also becomes wiser. I sometimes enjoy to randomly walk, just because I can. Unfortunately for me, the peace that it brought me was interrupted by a fearsome feline that I decided to beat up to death. Although I find it useful to utilize my abilities, I sometimes lack the energy to keep on using the power of nature. On this adventure, I ended the life of the chieftain of the Quill War, as well as capture one of their plan of attacks for the village. So far I acted as the Earth Mother would have liked me to.
You have passed the first test of the rights of the Earth Mother. The tribe will be proud.
Yeah, they would have been proud. From a young age, it was taught to us that death was part of the eternal cycle that each one of us embarked on. And so my duties with the camp were finished, and so I embarked onto Bloodhoof village. On the road I stumbled with a fearsome bird. Somehow this animal managed to make me flee from the battle, not without ending his life first. And so I arrived at Bloodhoof village. The locals gave me some water, and while I was accepting the quest, the chief's leader, Bane Bloodhoof, gave me a report about some digging excavation.
There are dwarves preparing a dig site to the northwest. They think secrets lie in the earth, and that is true. But hollowing and defiling the land is no way to earn its teachings.
I continued expanding on my druidic skills, to which I finally learned how to thorn myself. In the path, I paid my respects to a fallen comrade and continued on with fighting with the local fauna.
Their quills.
I also managed to cleanse one of the water wells that these animals used. I also stumbled upon an old camp on which I fought to the death with a total stranger about a chest. After winning, I continued cleaning the land of these filthy invaders, one at a time, also beating them up to death. After opening my second chest, I noticed no space was available for these plants, so I decided to be a good person and leave them there.
You have done a great thing for the land, adventurer, and you have done a great thing for the Tauren people.
Crossing the lake, I stumbled upon a wolf, make me once again flee the battle. Although we are taught to respect all sorts of life, it was the mighty Kodos that I found so amusing to observe, and so I paid my respect to one of the mighty beasts. I
I know that
casually grew of age, and I ended the day with a long deserved rest. I have finally awakened, yet I feel unsettled for what I witnessed. I will go on. Now the cycle starts again. Mushroom. Never tasted one of those forest mushrooms. Sweet mother of Jesus. Damn it. After detoxing, I continued with my tasks. My aid was needed in a spiritual hold filled with quill boars. Ah, nice.
The rights of the earth for your
Balance now and forever, as Cenarius has taught us. Never forget this.
It was time for my next step, and so I ventured into Thunderbluff, home capital of the Tauren. I was instructed that in the Elder's Rise I would receive some word on what was next of my career as a druid. So I happily crossed the bridge and immediately speak to one of the elders.
Your first step into this world will be to learn of the ways of the bear, and to learn strength of body and heart. Ready yourself. The
Cenarian Circle welcomes all beings who respect the authority and command of nature.
As I approached the enormous creature, I asked about the ways of the bear. He starts giving me a speech about how we are both strong, so I decide to paraphrase the last thing he said, and so he continued. This time he started expressing how much I needed to work out. I complied to his words. The spirit then proceeds to give me a speech about having resolve, to which I simply comply that I was listening to every single word he just said. And so, after learning a lot from his TED talk, I headed back towards my guide. I explained to him word by word what my friend the bear just spoke to me. Afterwards, I took the direct flight path to Thunder Bluff. On my arrival, I immediately headed towards the Elder's Rise, who entrusted me with the task to eliminate Lunar Claw. From my pocket, I used the Hearthstone. Afterwards, I immediately headed to face my destiny. On the road, I paid my homage to a fallen brethren, and so I continued. As I arrived to the spot, I am immediately greeted by a savage lizard. As soon as I noticed the gap of skill between us, I immediately run away. As the situation stabilized, I picked up the magical dust and I threw it onto the altar. As soon as I devised my opponent, I started unleashing the wrath of nature. Unfortunately for me, he was pretty tough. As I was getting severely wounded, I decided to make some distance between us to bandage my wounds. Afterwards, I continued spamming the wrath of nature onto him, leading to his inevitable fall. From its corpse, its own spirit rose up. The phantom deemed me worthy of its time, and so gave me a seal of approval. And so I headed back to Thunder Bluff with a total victory in my back. I spoke of my deeds and I passed the test. In bear form, I mentalized for the next battle. And so, after a long day of work, I decided to head back to the inn, expecting but a well-deserved rest. As soon as I became aware of my surroundings, I immediately rose from my bed. Though it depicted my homeland, I knew I wasn't really walking through these grounds. A voice deep within me was telling me where I could find answers. Somehow it knew that in the Elder's Rise everything would unfold, and so I walked, trying to act calm, for that voice knew something that I always wanted to find out. And so I had to meet it. For that, I crossed the bridge. Through the veil of rain, I devised a shadowy figure, standing motionless. Driven by curiosity, I stepped forward into the figure. Excuse me, I have noticed a strange pattern through my dreams. And it's that it all started when I first learned the basics of Druidism. Tell me, who are you, stranger? And why do you decide to stalk my dreams? The figure decided to stand there, silent. The figure turned slowly. When he referred to me, it was as the Tauren of the Shuhalu. Somehow this individual knew of my origins, so I decided to listen to his next words. He started telling me that I have walked the path of balance, and that I possessed a soul of iron, unyielding and steadfast. He then started saying that once more Azeroth laid in total unbalance, the scales tilting towards destruction as shadow gathered and ancient wounds festered. He then proceeded to step closer. I haunt your dreams not to torment you, but rather guide you, as the world cries out for a protector, one who can restore the balance the Earth Mother so cherishes. But this protector will not find their destiny alone. It must be you who must seek them out, for the faith of Azeroth rested on my shoulders. Now tell me, Druid, will you take up this burden, or will you turn away and let the cycle of despair consume it all? It's up to you.